Okay, ignore the fact that I am shirtless. It's 105 degrees out, so it is freaking hot. And my AC is pumping, but it's Spanish AC, okay? So it's not exactly like super cold. Um, so it is hot. But I want to talk about getting your Spanish driver's license because that is an insane experience and task. So when you arrive here as a new resident, you can drive on your US license for 6 months. That's it. After 6 months, that license is void. It's useless. You can't drive on it. Um, and during those 6 months, you have to have an international driving permit attached to your license, which is something that you get at AAA before you head over here. Um, if you continue driving on that license past 6 months, it's a big deal. So, one, if you're caught, it's a 700 euro fine and mandatory impoundment of the vehicle. So, you definitely don't want to do that. And then, two, when you do go to get your Spanish driver's license, you now have that on your record, which means they could actually deny you getting your Spanish driver's license for a certain amount of time. Uh, so, don't do it. Get your Spanish driver's license, even though it is really difficult. It's considered one of the hardest driver's licenses in the world to get. And after doing it, I see why. I mean, I had driven in the US for 20 plus years. I drove in all like so many different aspects. I mean, I went to a federal driving academy. Like I had so many different driver's licenses in the military, like driven massive fucking trucks. Like I've driven a lot. And you get here and they're like, you've never driven in your life. Like that's how we look at you. You're a baby. You've never seen a car before. Um, so the way it works here is you got to get with a driving school. It's insanely expensive too. So when you get with a driving school, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to schedule you. Well, they're going to have you study. A lot of driving schools have their own like study book that you can do. I use Practica Test, which I highly recommend, even over driving school material, because I found that to be literally the questions and answers that I got on my exam were what I studied. Um, my husband did the test through the school, and I don't know if it's just lack of studying or the questions he got, but he's failed it twice now. So I passed the first time using Practica Test. So highly recommend it. I think it was like 20 bucks for a 6 month subscription of it. So very much worth it. But they'll schedule you for your exam. You can schedule yourself through the DGT, which is basically our version of the DMV. I would not mess with it. It is not worth the headache. It is a pain in the ass. Go through the school. They'll do it for you. You're already paying them anyways, so just let them do it. So they'll schedule you for your theory exam. You show up, you take your theory exam, and if you pass it, then you start your driving lessons, which are mandatory. You don't get to just say, I've driven. No. The school basically sponsors you and says this person is ready to take the exam. So there's an industry to this. There's some money involved in this. They want you to take more lessons, so you pay them more money. But I will say that even though I had driven so long in the US, I needed to sit there and actually throw all of that out the window because driving here is so different. The laws are different. The way that you actually drive, like your driving habits, are different. And they grade that on the exam. It's not just did this person follow the law and stop where they were supposed to at the stop line. No, it's how did this person turn their fucking head and look? They grade you on that. So, like, when I'm used to the US version where you pull up to a stop sign and you look left and you look right and then you proceed and then you check again as you're driving across to make sure a pedestrian didn't pop out. No, can't do that. That's a fail here. You can only look once because if you look twice, they say that shows that you really didn't look good the first time, which means you pulled out without knowing it was safe. Fail. And to me, that's a habit. I just do it naturally. I can't change that. So I'm literally taking this driving exam and I'm saying, okay, stop, look straight ahead, full send. Like, don't look anywhere else because I was like, do not fail me for trying to be what's safe in my mind. So I do recommend taking lessons. I think the fact that I took think I did 12 lessons, so 12 hours of driving. I think because I did that, I passed the first time go. I didn't try and just be like, I'm going to try and do this as cheap as possible, because if you do that, it's going to end up where it costs more money in the long run. You only get 2 attempts for this exam across both. So if you fail the theory the first time, you only have 1 attempt at the practical. If you fail the theory twice, you're out. Fail the practical twice, you're out. And guess what that means? You start completely over, from the medical exam that you have to go get, to taking the theory, to taking all the driving lessons again. So it's just not worth it. You will spend more money by trying to do it cheap and quick than you will if you just take your time. The other benefit is by doing more lessons, you end up doing the same driving route that you will do on your exam, because you've been around the city so much driving that really helps. Because there are some lanes here, like when you pull up to a roundabout, a rotunda, when you pull up to that, there is 5 lanes in a roundabout, and they will have different speed limits. They will have different lights within the rotunda for each lane. And when you enter that roundabout, you have to know where your exit is already, because you can't change lanes in some of them. So by knowing the streets and knowing which roundabout has what lanes in it, you won't make that mistake on your driving exam, because you've already done it so many times that you know it. There's signs, that tell you what exit to get off of. Yeah. But when traffic is backed up and you have to choose your lane before you can ever see that sign, and you pick the wrong one on your driving exam, you're screwed. The only option you can do is just get off where you are supposed to and then try and make a U-turn. But the more steps you have to do in that driving exam, the more likely you are to make a mistake and then fail it. So do the lessons. It's much better to do it that way. The other thing about the driving exam, when you get your license here, you get a provisional license. Now, there is a trick that you can do, and it depends on your state, because some states take forever to process things. Like my state, North Carolina, took forever to process it, so it was useless for me. But if you want to be able to get a full driver's license, you can go and get your driving record from your state where your license is in. You have to get it issued, notarized, apostilled in that state, translated, and then you can submit it to the DGT here, and they will give you full points instead of you having learner points. It's a hassle. You have learner points for a year, and then you go up to full points anyways. So to me, it's not worth the expense of doing all of that. Just get the learner points. Now, the only thing about the learner points is the learner points comes with the loser L, which you have to display on your car so everybody knows that you're a loser. So you're driving around with this big freaking L in your back window. But whatever. It is what it is. So that was my experience getting my license. I got lucky. I passed both things first time go. But I mean, I studied my ass off. I did a bunch of driving around. And it worked out for me. It doesn't work out for everybody. I mean, it's a very high fail rate for this. The guy that I drove with for my practical exam was on his 7th attempt of the practical. So it's not easy, but it's definitely doable. The one thing you do not want to do, though, is keep driving on a U.S. license as a resident, because eventually you will get caught. I've been driving here for a year now, and I've probably been in 7 or 8 random checkpoints. So it's not like the US where, there's laws around, they can't just randomly stop you at a checkpoint, Here they can just set up a checkpoint on the road out here and say, everyone stop, document inspection. And they'll inspect everyone's licenses. They'll have you blow in a tube to see if you're drunk. And if you're caught in that, you can't turn around. There's no way to turn around. You will just pull onto a street, and then all of a sudden you're trapped and you're going through it, and there's no option but to go through this. And if you're caught, you set yourself up for getting a big fine and maybe not even able to get your license. And even worse is technically it goes on your community report which means they can also decide to reject your visa or your residency renewal because you weren't an upstanding citizen and abiding by the law. So it's just not something to mess with. People do it. I mean, I know people here that are still driving on their US license. I wouldn't risk it. It's only a matter of time before you get caught. The other thing is the sooner you get your license, the sooner you'll be able to get off provisional status, rent cars, that type of thing. Because once your US license is invalid, it would be illegal to use it to rent a car here. And most car companies will not rent cars to provisional learners. So you have to have your Spanish license for at least a year before you can go rent a car. Some companies, it's 2-3 years. So the sooner you get it, the sooner you start racking that time up. So my advice, as soon as you get here and you get your TIE card, go enroll in a school and start the process, because it's not an overnight thing. It's going to take a while. But you just got to get it done.